Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Book Time with Elvis with me, Mark. I hope you're all doing well. Today I have another tag video. I wasn't tagged in this. I saw it on Bill Rutenberg's channel, and I thought this looks like fun. And recently, one of my subscribers did ask me to do a Q&A and say some more information about myself, and I was saving that and maybe till I get to 500 subscribers, but I've been stuck around the mid 400s pretty much since Christmas, so it might be a long wait for that. So I thought, well, I can do this tag, and perhaps if you're interested, you'll learn a little bit more about me. And plus, it's my favorite subject. Who wouldn't want to talk about themselves for 20-25 minutes? I'm just guessing that's how long the video will be. It might be longer, it might be shorter. It will be, well, I suppose it won't be a surprise because you'll see how long it is and if you decide to watch it or not. But anyway, as I say, I saw this tag on Bill Rutenberg's channel. It is the Get to Know Me in 25 Questions tag, and it was originally created by Mazza Booktuber. All relevant links and things will be down below. So let's jump right in. Question number 1. What's your channel about? Well, this is BookTube. My channel is naturally about books. Generally, I try and maybe do the odd review, maybe not too successfully, but I do take part in the tags and book hauls and all that kind of stuff, and several reading events. And I do love talking about books for sure. So I think it's really the only thing I could have made a channel about. I sometimes wonder if I had made a channel about anything else, what would that be? I don't know. I live outside of my home country, so I suppose I could have done some kind of vlogging, but I don't really go a lot of places these days, so it wouldn't be that interesting. Perhaps I could have done maybe a channel about history. I don't know. But anyway, the channel Book Time with Elvis is pretty much about books. Number 2, how old are you? I am 41, but next week I will turn 42. So there you go. I know I look much younger, but it's just that I take care of myself, of course. Number 3, what's your relationship status? My current relationship status is single. Honestly, not that fussed, to be honest, about it. I think the longer one stays single, the easier it is to remain single. And I'm not one of these people who thinks, I'm so lonely. I'm not. I have a wonderful dog, of course, who I spend a lot of time with, and I work in a school where I'm surrounded by kids and great colleagues and friends. I think I'm pretty lucky, actually. So number 4, did you go to college, or what's your occupation? Well, I just told you I work in a school. I am an English teacher. I primarily teach English as a second language and conversation-based lessons to try and improve the kids' lessons. I teach from the age of 6 up to 15, so the whole gamut of the what they call the základní škola, or basic school system here in the Czech Republic. I did indeed go to college or university, as we would say in England. I went first off to Durham University in the northeast of England, where I studied European Studies in German, and that was for my bachelor's degree. And then I went on and did a master's degree at the University of Edinburgh in Scotland, where I studied political science for my master's degree, none of which are particularly related to teaching, but I suppose required a fairly high level of English ability, and having left school or university, I decided to take a job teaching English. It was supposed to be temporary, but here I am all these years later. Number 5, where are you from, or where do you live? I'm from the United Kingdom, from England, not too far from London is where I originate. Where I live now, I live currently in the Czech Republic. I live in a small town in the foothills of the Eagle Mountains in eastern Bohemia. and it's a very beautiful part of the world. I've tried to show some of it from time to time on this channel, so I'm very lucky. Though in my 42 years, I've probably spent around 12 years in England. Most of my life has been outside. I grew up in Bermuda and Sweden, where I went to school in both countries. I started my first kind of internship or job, a job that was an internship rather, in Germany. I started my first English job in Japan, and then I moved off to Hong Kong and then back to England, and then currently, as I say, in the Czech Republic. Number 6, looking back, what would you have told your 10-year-old self? I'm not sure why it's specifically 10-year-old self that I would have to tell. I would think maybe the teenage Mark probably needed a little bit more guidance. But I would say don't stress, really. Don't worry about exams and all that kind of thing, because things do have a way of working out. I'd never planned to be where I am now. Everything I think in life has been, at least for me, touch wood, a happy accident. So there would have been really no point having, got as stressed as I used to get as a kid, worrying about, passing exams and that kind of thing. I think if I had even just relaxed a little bit more, things would either have turned out the same or still turned out just fine. Number 7, tell us about your family. Well, I'll have to talk about my parents and siblings, I guess, because I haven't got children of my own or a wife. So I come from a very small family. It's just my mum, dad, and my sister, my younger sister. She's just over a year younger than I am. My mother started off working before I was born, working for British Airways, and my father worked as an engineer, but not with his hands, kind of theoretical, I suppose, working in business, telecommunications business, and specializing in transatlantic fiber optic cable networks. So he was very responsible for the projects that laid transatlantic cables, so from the United Kingdom all across the Atlantic through to the United States and North America. Hence why I lived for several years in Bermuda, because Bermuda is a cable kind of station where the cables come in as they go across from the Atlantic and then go out again to different parts of North America. My sister, she works in Bristol in the United Kingdom, and she works for a company that is responsible for scuba diving certification, and she does, I think, marketing and this kind of thing for that company. Number 8, what's your favorite holiday? Well, I at first thought this meant like, what's my favorite holiday, i.e. destination, but after watching Bill's version of this tag, I understand now it means festival or public holiday. In that case, I would have to go with Christmas. Christmas is easily my favorite holiday. I love the atmosphere. I love getting presents. I'm not going to be one of these people and say, oh, I just love giving presents to people. Yeah, I do, but I like getting them. I really like getting them. And I'm a little bit boring when it comes to getting presents, because I'm not one for surprises. I generally present my nearest and dearest with a list and ask them kindly not to deviate from it. So, I usually have a pretty good idea what I'm getting, but I'm happy, and it's easier for people buying for me, I think, although some say it might take the fun out of it, but, I'm certainly very satisfied when I get it. And I just love, the Christmas carols, the food. I mean, I have spent most of the last, 5 years alone, actually, at Christmas, or maybe with friends, especially when COVID came as well. I was unable to get home and my family was unable to visit. honestly, it was, of course, sad not to see and be with my family, but it wasn't as depressing as it sounded. It was quite nice to just be able to stay in my gym jams all day and watch Christmas films and TV shows and eat. I did actually stick with a traditional Czech Christmas, um, although I opened my presents on the 25th, whereas the Czechs would have done it on the 24th. But food-wise, so I went with schnitzels and potato salad and this kind of stuff. And of course, you can cook up a load of schnitzels and eat them for several days. So, um, I love Christmas. I really do. Number 9, you have no budget. What is your dream vacation? Honestly, and this is going to be really boring, my dream vacation would be to stay home with my dog, with Elvis, and read, and maybe take some trips, of course, together. If I had the opportunity, unfortunately, I don't drive, and I live in the Czech Republic, which is a landlocked country. But if I could, I would look at going either north to the Baltic on the coast of Poland, or south to the is it Adriatic? Is it? I suppose, yeah, in Croatia, and taking Elvis with me, because one thing I would love is for him to experience the seaside. I think he would absolutely have the best time. And he's only 5 years old. I like to think we've got time, of course, and one day I'm going to try and do my best for him to have that dream come true. I hope it's his dream, but certainly it's one of mine. And I've mentioned on this channel before, I'm building a house, and part of the motivation, of course, for that is not just the fact that I've been here 10 years, and it's time to maybe start, instead of paying somebody else's mortgage by paying rent, I might as well just pay for my own. But part of the motivation to get the house is to have the garden and everything to make life better, for not just myself, but also for Elvis. Because we live in an apartment. It's very nice, albeit very old apartment, but there's no private garden. There's a small courtyard which sometimes we go to, but I think he would love to run around there in the garden of the house, and it would be quite a big one. Next, 10. Name your biggest pet peeves. Oh, this is a terrible question for me because I have loads. And a lot of them actually are linked to English, the language, or how people say things and what people say. I absolutely despise your and your. I get very angry when I see you're welcome, especially when I've seen it from people I know who teach English for a living. And then also people confuse there, and this kind of thing. I don't get angry when students do it, or speakers of people who are speaking English as a foreign or second language, because that's understandable. But when native speakers do it, it does drive me insane. I have a problem with certain words. One of them is going to sound really strange, and I apologize to all my American viewers. And it's the American word for underwear. This word, I don't know if I can actually bring myself to say it. The word panties. I don't know. It's cringeworthy for me. I think, it sounds childish to me, and therefore it doesn't sound like something that should be used in an adult context. I just, it's pants, right? Or underpants, or underwear, or if you really want to be British about it, knickers, or lingerie even. But taking the pants or underpants and then getting this word panties, just, I don't know. I apologize. I certainly don't mean to offend anyone, but it's just something that just doesn't sit right with me. It grates on me. Another thing I hate is, and again, if you are a woman who does this, it doesn't mean, of course, you can't ever say it to me if we're in conversation, but it is something I really don't like, and that's using the word hubby. Oh, hubby's got a B-day today. Don't like it. I'm sorry, it's a pet peeve of mine. And considering it's popular at the moment on YouTube, another one is this term bae. I've disliked it since it came in. I just don't understand it. I thought it was like short for baby, and I don't like it. It's like, to me, not something adults should be saying. And again, no disrespect to people who are doing this summer bae tag, and I know it's a bit of fun, but it's just a pet peeve of mine. Along with a long list of things that I find cringeworthy to hear or whatever. And there's probably loads. I mean, well, talking about more serious things, and I would be similar, of course, to Bill, and go with something like dishonesty. But actually, it's more than a pet peeve for me. It's something I really dislike, is dishonesty. I can forgive you saying panties or hubby more than, obviously, I could forgive someone being dishonest. Sorry, it's gonna be a strange video. I might not even upload it. Oh yeah, I probably will. What am I saying? Number 11. What book changed your life? This is very difficult. I would go with maybe Matilda by Roald Dahl, because it was a book that I remember. Matilda or the Witches. I can't remember which one, but one of the, I certainly remember reading both of them, and it changed my life. Not in any kind of nothing to do with the books themselves, but they were books I clearly remember reading non-stop. Yeah, I mean, I would sit down on the sofa in the armchair and literally just read that book until it was bedtime, and then even beyond. And I think that confirmed or cemented this thing that we all love here, books and reading, for me. So naturally that changed my life, because if I didn't have that experience, or those experiences with those books, and Roald Dahl certainly was excellent at pulling you in, as a child, then obviously my life would have been very different, and I think it would have been much emptier, of course. Number 12, what simple invention improved the world? Well, Bill said the printing press, and I think that was a good one. I was really racking my brains over this, because I don't think there are too many, simple inventions that I can think of. I suppose the wheel, that must be fairly simple, and that certainly improved the world to some degree. There are, of course, a lot of discoveries that improved the world beyond measure. Discovery of fire, penicillin, America, all sorts of things. But I can't think of any real enlightening answer to that particular question. Number 13, favorite movies and TV shows, or TV shows. Oh, it's hard. I've mentioned a few of them before. I really like old films. I love Kind Hearts and Coronets, The Lady Vanishes, Lavender Hill Mob. These are all black and white. The 1947, 48 version of Great Expectations, for example, I really like that. Other films, Zulu, the film Waterloo from the early 1970s. Great films. Yeah, there's probably once I finish this, I'll be like, I should have said such and such. TV shows, The Sopranos. I loved The Sopranos in my early 20s. I thought that was a really fantastic show. I quite enjoyed the early parts of Game of Thrones, for example. If we're looking at television comedies, some British ones such as Father Ted. If you haven't seen it, it's well worth checking out. Blackadder with Rowan Atkinson, who plays, of course, Mr. Bean. And there are loads. American ones I liked as a kid. I used to like the show Airwolf, the A-Team. I used to absolutely love the A-Team. I would still watch it actually because it's on Amazon Prime Germany. Although bizarrely, one or two of the series are only available in German, so it's quite weird. Instead of Hannibal saying, I love it when a plan comes together, you have him saying, ich liebe es, wenn ein Plan, whatever, which is fun. Comedies, I loved Cheers, Seinfeld. Seinfeld I came to later. I think it was the late 90s I came to Seinfeld. I never really got on with Friends. I used to think sometimes that it kind of ripped a few things off from Seinfeld. But yeah, Seinfeld's great, and I'll still watch it on Netflix. Oh, we're at the 20-minute mark. So, I was close, and I'll try and get the rest done within 5 minutes. Describe yourself using 3 fictional characters. Very, very difficult, this one, for me, because I'm inclined to be negative rather than choose positive fictional characters about myself. I really don't know how to answer it. I suppose, I'd like to think I was... There were elements of hobbits about me, perhaps not, of course, in size, but in terms of, determination and trying to get the job done. Might be hobbit-like. Yeah, it's really tough, that one. I don't know. If you'll forgive me, I'll probably gloss over that. Number 15, what was your dream job? Well, I've had a few. First one was probably when I was a small kid, was I wanted to be a dustman or garbage man, because I used to think it was the coolest thing in the world to ride on the back of those rubbish trucks, the garbage trucks. However, my parents weren't too enthusiastic about that for some reason. Then I think I wanted to be a farmer for a while until I realized it was, obviously going to be very hard work. And at the time I was living in Bermuda, and no farm was probably more than, a couple of acres. And then I had a period where I wanted to join the Royal Navy. Although I found out I didn't want to be an enlisted man. Of course, I wanted to be an officer. So I found out you had to still climb some rigging as part of the test. I don't know if they still do that, but I have terrible fear of heights, so that was out. And then I wanted to be a diplomat, and I just chickened out of taking the civil service exam, to be honest. I felt that I wouldn't pass because I've always had a weakness with mathematics, and I just felt that I probably wouldn't pass. And sadly, I didn't try for it. Who knows? I might have surprised myself. Then there was... what else was there? Oh yeah, I wanted to be a university academic. But then, my plan was to teach English for a year and then go back to university, do a PhD or doctorate. But I ended up staying in Japan longer than the year. And then I just couldn't be bothered, to be honest, to go back to university. And it turned out that the job I just did for a year, that I'm still really doing, has become my dream job. I'm so lucky to work where I work at the moment, with just such wonderful people and amazing children in a beautiful, beautiful location. And, once I'm living there as well, and I've got the house and, the whole package, and Elvis is with me and all this, it really will be my dream job. I couldn't think of how it could be improved. Number 16, if magic was real, what spell would you learn first? I don't know, probably a spell to do with money. I'm not somebody who's, I have no interest in cars and this kind of stuff, but I've always had this wish to be comfortable. Like me and those important to me to be comfortable, and also to be a little philanthropic. I'd love to be able to give money away to help people. So if I had a spell that actually allowed me to just get money, then I would shower it all over the place, and it would just be nice. But you wouldn't see Ferraris parked out. I probably wouldn't even build a bigger house than the one I'm building now. But it would be something like that, something to help people, I suppose. And that maybe sounds a little bit corny, but yeah, that's just the kind of guy I am. Really sweet and nice. 17. Share a favorite childhood memory. This is very difficult because I was very lucky. I had a very, very nice childhood. It's full of fantastic memories. I suppose, I remember sitting in the garden of my grandparents, shelling peas with my grandfather. And he died when I was 4, so I must have been 4 or 3 when this was happening. But I remember it clearly, sitting on the bench with him, shelling peas, popping the pea pods. He'd have his pipe in his mouth and this kind of thing. And that's kind of special for me, of course, because my memories are very limited, with him. Then others would be childhood holidays. I had 2 really, for me, very special holidays. Would have been traveling around Scandinavia, a driving holiday around Scandinavia with my parents and my sister. Traveling to Malaysia with my parents and my sister when I was 14, and again driving around there. Sorry, I'm over 25 minutes, but it was fantastic time, really. And there would be many more things, really. Spending time with my grandmother, but I was so I was 23 when she passed away, so I was lucky. It's just childhood and early adulthood. So number 18, what is your favorite social media platform and why? Well, it's YouTube. It has to be YouTube because I have met so many wonderful people who really are friends. I've never met them, but I speak to people, if not on a daily basis, at least a weekly basis, and I have genuine feelings for them and genuine interest into what my booktube friends are doing and what they're reading, and it's really been a revelation to me. So it would have to be YouTube, followed by Instagram. Number 19, if you could pick any book character, who would you spend the day with? I would like to spend the day with, and actually I'm going to go for an author rather than a character, even though he's a character in his book, but I think it's a fictionalized version of himself a little bit. So I would go with Jerome K. Jerome, or Jay from 3 Men in a Boat, but I suppose that wouldn't be a surprise for everybody, seeing as it is, of course, my favorite book. And the character of Jay is very funny and very interesting, and I think he would be great. And of course, backed up by the fact the author had a really interesting life, and I think it would be very humorous and great fun to hang out with him. Number 20, what's your spirit animal? I think it would be the wombat, because they're rather a bit hobbity in the terms of they're kind of slow moving, although they are plump. But they're determined, and I think they just plod around and get things done, and I like to think I'm a bit like that. Number 21, what old person thing do you do? I don't know if it's old people, but I am prone to wearing cardigans. I don't know if that's just old things. Muttering, of course, to myself. Talking a lot to my dog, but I don't think that's necessarily an old person thing. But maybe muttering to myself from time to time. And complaining about the youth of today. That is definitely an old person thing. 22, do you have a hidden talent? I don't know. Unfortunately, it's remained too hidden. I haven't found it yet. Number 23, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I see myself working in the same place, living in the beautiful village where my house will be built, and it's going to be fantastic, and I'm going to be surrounded by my books and my beloved Elvis, and maybe a couple of other animals, maybe a sheep for him to run around with and play with, or a goat or something like that, maybe some chickens. We'll see. Number 24, share an item and tell us its significance. Well, I'm just going to take a picture off my desk. Unfortunately, it's not framed. I should frame it. And it is a picture of my grandmother, if you can see it there. And it's just an important picture to me because she was a very special woman in my life. I loved her immensely. And of course, when it comes to books, she was a huge encouragement in my life. She bought me all the time books, any books I wanted. She never turned me down. Spoiled me rotten, really. But she was a reader herself, and you can see, I think that's what's the lovely thing about the picture. She's sitting in her chair reading a book, and it's how I like to remember her. And yeah, so for me, it's a very special picture, and I really like the fact that I can be reading here, and she's also reading over there, and reading for eternity, really. So yeah, it's a wonderful picture for me. Okay, number 25. Now tag some people. I'm not going to, because I feel naughty by taking this tag without being tagged myself. But I will encourage anybody who watches it, who wants to do it. It's a lovely tag, and definitely, I'm sure your subscribers and commenters and anybody and me, I want to know more about you, so I would love to watch it. So thank you very much for bearing with me for half an hour. I'm sorry it's so long. But it's really nice of you if you've stayed up to this point. If you haven't, you won't be watching it, so I could say anything, but I certainly understand if you didn't. So again, on this very hot day, apologies. Do take care of yourselves, stay cool, and see you next time. All the best, everybody. Bye bye.